Yeah.
What is going on, guys? This is Tommy Plays, and I am bringing another video. And in this video, I'm going to be talking about the PlayStation Pro again. And basically, I'm going to be answering the question: is it worth buying the PlayStation Pro? Is it, is it worth buying? Should you buy it? Just all that stuff. So yeah, if you didn't know, the PlayStation Pro was just announced yesterday. If you haven't seen it yet, here's a comparison: original PlayStation, PlayStation Pro. No, but seriously, this is what the actual PlayStation Pro looks like. It's seriously, that actually resembles it pretty well. You have to admit. But it looks pretty interesting to say the least. The design choice is definitely interesting. I'm not really sure what I think of it. Kind of mixed opinion on it. But anyways, let's first talk about the pros of this console, because it is a lot more powerful. It has 8GB DDR5 RAM, which is not different from the PlayStation 4. The PlayStation 4 already had that, but it is featuring a 1TB hard drive, which is good because the original PlayStation only had 500GB, and really you had to upgrade the hard drive yourself if you really wanted to get more. It's also going to have HDR and 4K, and if you don't know what HDR is, basically in a nutshell, it has better lighting for like both light and dark, so you get a lot better and crisper looks when you're in like darker and lighter areas. It's a bit difficult to explain. You can look it up yourself. This console will also allow you to choose how you want to play your game if the developer of that said game decides to implement it as a feature. So meaning you can either play in 4K with lower FPS and get a very good, a much better look to the game, or you can stick with 1080p and get a higher FPS, and the game won't be so blurry when you move around and stuff. And I'll talk about that more a little bit later because there's a bit more to it. So that's all the pros I really got. I mean, that's really kind of the only pros it has going for it. I guess another pro I could say is that there will be no exclusive games for this, and any games that you had for the original PlayStation, you can play on that, because this is still considered a PlayStation 4. It's not, a PlayStation 5. It's basically just a beefier version of the PlayStation 4 and Slim. That's pretty much all it is. But anyways, let's go ahead and talk about some of the cons, and there are quite a few that I am concerned about. This is probably one of the biggest, and that is it does not have 4K. It does not have a 4K Blu-ray drive. Personally, I don't really care too much, considering I don't own a 4K TV, and personally, I don't really care too much about 4K. I mean, yeah, 4K looks cool. It looks really nice, but I just don't. When it comes to quality, 1080p is really enough for me. I mean, yeah, 20 years down the line, if you have a 1080p TV, then that would be kind of weird, considering 20 years from now it's probably going to be a 5K or 6K. But right now, it's kind of, for me, 1080p is really enough. And I can really see this being a huge problem, not having the Blu-ray drive, because first off, the Xbox One S has one, and I mean, that thing is $100 cheaper. It's one. If you look at it, the Xbox One S is one of the cheapest options you have right now in order to getting a Blu-ray 4K drive, and that thing also has the capability of actually playing games too. Which really, this creates a very huge advantage over the PS4 Pro and Slim, considering none of them have a 4K Blu-ray drive. I mean, I don't watch Blu-rays that often. I mean, the only times I ever really watch Blu-ray is if my parents buy them and they're like, hey, we're gonna watch this movie tonight. I'm like, okay. I mean, the last movie I remember watching in Blu-ray was American Sniper, which, by the way, was a great movie. If I want to watch a movie, I tend to go to websites that pirate them and watch them there. So again, that's another reason why I don't care too much, but there are a lot of people out there who probably find this to be a problem, especially people who already have 4K TVs. Also, right now, 4K TVs do cost a lot of money. Some are ranging from thousands of dollars I mean, seriously, some of them are really expensive, and even some of, you know, the smaller ones still cost several hundreds, which a lot of people just simply can't afford. But really, sooner than you might think, these TVs could become a lot more affordable. You know, everything becomes more affordable eventually, whether it be like they just become outdated, or they're just not, you know, they're just easier to build for some reason. I mean, the first car manufacturers is a good example. Cars were extremely expensive until Mr. Ford came along and made the assembling line. Then cars became a lot more affordable. The same could happen with 4K TVs. So thus, a lot more people start to get 4K TVs overall, but then the PlayStation 4 will not have a 4K Blu-ray drive, and people would just kind of be, you know, stuck with that. They would have to go out and buy just a completely new one. Personally, I really don't know why they didn't add a 4K Blu-ray drive. It just seems kind of stupid to me. I don't know if like they were just afraid the price was going to increase a lot, although I don't really see how it could have, considering the Xbox One S that is going to have one. But it just seems very weird to me that they wouldn't. Things like Netflix and Amazon Prime, all that, they will be able to watch in 4K, though, so don't worry about that. I guess I should have said that in the Pro section, but, you know, just don't worry, those that will be able to watch in 4K, but not the, it just doesn't have a 4K Blu-ray drive. I mean, really, I don't know what else to say. It's just kind of weird to me. I don't know, maybe they just didn't get the memo. But anyways, also, the games on the PS4 Pro are not running at a native 4K resolution. Now, basically they're running at an upscaled 4K resolution, which is, needless to say, not as good as native. Native looks a lot better. Really, you have to actually look at 4K, at a native 4K resolution on a TV screen to, you know, fully get what it looks like. If you're watching it from like a Twitch stream or a YouTube stream, or a YouTube video, that is, it just doesn't look that good, because it just, you know, Twitch and YouTube, they compress it a lot, the quality gets worse as it's being live streamed, and yeah, you'd really have to be there in person to see the difference, but there is quite a substantial difference. Same goes with HDR, but basically, an upscaled version of 4K just simply does not look that as good as native. I mean, upscaled still looks pretty good, but it's pretty much just a bit of a better version than 1080p. Like, there's not much of a difference between upscaled 4K and 1080p. It's like if I were to take a video that I recorded in 1080p and upscale it to 4K in Sony Vegas, there wouldn't really be that much of a difference. It would be pretty pointless. Not to say that the game will look bad. The game's gonna look fantastic, but you know, it's just 4K, it's still running in 4K, so I'll give it that. It's still gonna look great. Also, if you don't have a 4K TV or monitor, then really there's not much of a point in buying the PlayStation 4 Pro anyways, because, I mean, really just think about it. You could argue that, well, you'd have an advantage in multiplayer because you have a higher frame rate, but the thing is in multiplayer the game is going to be locked at the lowest frame rate it could possibly be. So if you don't know what I mean, meaning you could play in 1080p and get 60 FPS in single player, but once you switch over to multiplayer you will get 30 FPS. Just because there are either A, people playing in 4K that have a lower FPS, or B, people who are still playing on the original PlayStation, on PlayStation Slim, and still getting 30 FPS. I could see why they would do this. You know, they don't want they don't want people to have like a very big advantage due to FPS. I mean, if you're a PC gamer, you know exactly what that means. If you have a low FPS, then you're at a very big disadvantage. FPS is it contributes a lot to how well you play. And also, if you don't own a 4K TV, then you're not really getting much of an upgrade, except, you know, you get more frames. And it just looks a little bit better in 1080p. I mean, yeah, that's pretty much it. So overall, should you buy this? Well, I'm gonna let you decide that. Just take all these points into consideration. Again, it's your money. You can do whatever you want with it. I'm not going to tell you that you can and cannot buy it. I mean, personally, I would I'm gonna get it. Like, honestly, I don't have a 4K TV or anything, but I'm really big. I'm a really big nerd. That's really the only thing I can say. I really like to have the you know, the top things that you could possibly get. So yeah, I'm gonna end up getting it. Go ahead and tell me in the comments if you are. Tell me what you think of these points that I made. If you agree or disagree with them. And yeah, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe. It really would mean a lot to me. And as always, have a nice day.
Up, up, and away we go. Up, up, and it's making me glow. Up, up, and away